I was going to ask this in the AskReddit subreddit, but since women don't participate, there's no need to have them in this conversation. Anyway, what's the average for you guys? I told my friend 2 to 3 times a week, and they said that's a bad thing. Edit. I don't know if it's a concern, as I don't eat much. I work at Amazon for 10 hours a day and take the bus, so I have to leave 2 hours earlier and get home 2 hours after my shift. I basically don't have time to eat much because once I'm home, I fall asleep. I'm lucky if I get 2 meals a day. It's odd, though, because I haven't been losing weight, and I do heavy deliveries, tons of routes, and take many stairs in apartments without elevators. But at the same time, that's always been the same, even before I had the job, and I would eat 3 times a day, so I guess maybe it is a concern. Story 1. That's a slow bowel. Big one every morning for me, and a few small ones later in the day some days. My wife, who definitely does poop, goes at least once a day. It's not something to panic about, but it's not healthy to have food take that long to clear your system. Consider taking a magnesium supplement. Story 2. I usually defecate once a day, so about 7 times a week. However, I have read that the frequency of bowel movements can vary widely among individuals. Some people might go 3 times a day, while others might only go 3 times a week, and both can be considered normal as long as there is no discomfort. Factors like diet, hydration, exercise, and stress levels all play a role in how often you go. Eating a diet high in fiber, staying hydrated, and maintaining a regular exercise routine can help keep things regular. If you notice any significant changes in your bowel habits or experience discomfort, it might be a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional. Story 3. Wow. Based on comments here, it looks like I am an anomaly. I take a deuce once every 3 to 4 days, so about 2 times a week on average. I am 28 and have been like this for as long as I can remember, around 20 years. I am in good health, mostly eat right, and am physically active, playing sports and stuff. I have been working out consistently this year, and I am lean and ripped with six-pack abs now. Not sure how to feel about my poop schedule. Story 4. 3 times per day to 3 times per week is considered normal. You might be a little constipated at 2 times per day. Talk to a doctor about it. I know someone who takes Miralax nightly because of that. Story 5. Nurse here. Everyone has their own unique rate, but the normal is considered about 3 times a day to once every 3 days. I wouldn't be concerned unless you notice a change in your normal routine. I wouldn't be concerned about how you compare to others. Story 6. Depends on what and how much I've been eating. Normal diet? I can skip a day sometimes, not reliably, but I can. Eat out a lot? Likely daily, unless something didn't agree with me, no matter how good it tasted going in. Story 7. 1 meal equals 1 bowel movement. So when I eat 3 meals, I have 3 bowel movements. I rarely get backed up, usually only when I don't drink enough during the summer. Speaking of drinking, more than 3 beers is about the only thing that will increase the standard 1-to-1 bowel movement to meal ratio. Story 8. 2 to 3 times a week, maybe less. I eat a ton and don't suffer bowel issues. I just don't feel the need to go that often, and when I do, it is an extremely short process. It has always baffled me when people have said they go multiple times daily and take more than 20 minutes each time. Story 9. 12 times a week. Twice daily, morning and evening. 1 or 2 days a week, I skip an evening poop because of an event or work, and it makes me grumpy, but it is what it is. Story 10. High metabolism, twice a day, at least once a day. Usually morning and after lunch. I eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and exercise at least for 30 minutes per day. Story 11. 1 to 2 times a day, mostly in the morning. If I ate a huge dinner the night before, I'll have one before breakfast and then a small one after my morning coffee. You need some fiber in your diet, little brother. Story 12. Feel bad for the wife on this one. Minimum 3 times per day, and they are solid efforts. Sometimes 4. Sometimes I go wipe, get up, and realize I'm not done yet. It's like a hobbit's second breakfast. I get a second poop. When I work out and eat more, it goes up to 5 times per day every day. It's been that way all my life. I'm aware. Story 13. Women poop too. Here is what the Cleveland Clinic says. Aside from fiber in your diet being important, water is too. If you do not sufficiently hydrate, you can become constipated. Also, you need to pay attention to changes in your poop, and if you notice any, you should see a doctor. Story 14. Women have bowel movements as well. You could have asked in the other subsection. Because of a few high blood work levels, I have been on a diet for the past 2 weeks. Before that point, about 2 to 5 times per day. Since then, about 4 times per week. That's why I'm going back to Taco Bell tomorrow. Story 15. Had stomach surgery a decade ago. Was told that irritable bowel syndrome type diarrhea symptoms were common and would last a year or so. Nope. It's been 11 years. Still going up to 7 times a day. Story 16. Week 15 to 20. With 2 to 3 times per day. I had a prescription that caused constipation once and went 3.5 days without going. It was agony when it finally passed. Funnily, it happened right after buying laxatives, but before using them. Story 17. 3 times a day. All before lunchtime. Morning caffeine gets the first of it moving. Then some nicotine pushes the rest. Then, right after I do my morning workout is when the last one comes knocking. It's always a good time honking out a dirt snake. Story 18. My fiancé poops every morning pretty much right after waking up. I poop maybe 3 to 4 times a week, but it varies based on what I've been eating. It's absolutely not weird or concerning to only poop 2 to 3 times a week if you're only having 2 meals a day. Someone else I know only poops about 1 to 2 times a week. It really just varies. Story 19. 2 to 3 times a day to 2 to 3 times a week is normal. The individuals who are going 2 to 3 times a day are more active in their lifestyles, eat more, and probably weigh less. If you start doing the opposite of what I've mentioned, then you slowly end up being the person who goes 2 to 3 times a week. Both are good. Both are healthy. It's just the way we are designed. Story 20. Once a day, every other day if I've had a lot of cheese and not enough fiber. I don't drink coffee, but usually around 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., like clockwork. The more junk food, the more I go, up to twice a day that wasn't diarrhea type. I am a woman and do poop. Story 21. You should probably eat more vegetables. I'm not an expert, but if this frequency is within the medically agreed upon range of normal and you're eating well, please disregard. Edit to actually answer the question, 1 to 2 times per day. If I miss a day, I can directly tie it to not eating enough fiber the day before. Story 22. I work out, so mixing protein shakes and pre-workout on the same day calls for at least once a day. Sometimes I'll go 2 to 3 times in a day. Pre-workout usually makes me go because of the caffeine right before I start lifting, or it will hit in the beginning of my lift. Once I'm done and eat post-workout, it takes about an hour until I have to go. Story 23. If I sit every morning 2 to 3 times between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., does that count as once? I could probably sit down for 1 consecutive time and get it all out, but I prefer shorter stints on the toilet. Story 24. Usually once a day, sometimes twice if I drink a lot of coffee. That's when I'm at home. When I go out on the road for work, sometimes I go 3 to 5 days between, especially if I'm really busy. A month ago, when I got giardiasis, it was upwards of 15 times a day. Story 25. I think it is more important what your poop looks like versus how much you poop. Also, does your poop exit easily? If your poop looks big, dried out, and is tough to pass, you are probably not pooping enough. But if it looks within the range of normal and is easy to poop, it's just your body's timing. Story 26. I am on a glucagon-like peptide 1 medication, Manjaro, that slows your digestion down, so once or twice per week. With stool softeners and Miralax, it is more like 4 times per week. I eat super clean, whole foods, over 30 grams of fiber, lift at the gym 6 to 7 days a week, and run every day. It is what it is for now. It is manageable. Story 27. The past few days have been very active for me, getting at least 2 to 3 in a day. Normally, I'll get a good 1 or 2 in each day. You shouldn't be going only 2 to 3 times a week. That's bordering on constipation. Story 28. Once or twice a day, usually in the morning just after I check my emails at work, and then at night after dinner. That's pretty typical for me. Plus, the bathroom is a safe place from people asking me questions they can figure out on their own. So a week? 1.5 times 7 is about 11. Story 29. Good solid bowel movement in the morning around 7 a.m., I find, and then normally another around 4 to 6 p.m. when I get home. That's on a work routine. Having bowel movements more randomly as I stay up late, get up late, and eat at odd times on holidays. Story 30. I usually snack all day. I eat pretty average. I eat fruit, Big Macs, vegetables, Whoppers, you get the idea. So I go to the bathroom 3 to 4 times in the morning. I have coffee like any regular 9 to 5 worker. But I take huge trips to the bathroom between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. Is this normal? I mean, they're healthy trips, I might add. Story 31. I heard it varies by people. I go probably 4 to 5 times a week, depending on what my diet that week is like. If I have pizza, it's going to be 2 to 3 times within the next 24 hours. Story 32. This year, I have been keeping track of how many bowel movements I take. It is organized by quantity for the entire month and a smaller record of most in a single day. So far, my highest performing month was January for both records. 71 movements and the highest daily number at 5 in a day. I was sick. January is the highest because I was working 10 minutes from my home and would come home on my lunch break. I averaged about 2.4 movements a day. On average each month, the most I've taken in a single day is 4. Usually on days I wake up at 4 a.m. to go fishing and do not sleep until 11 or 12 that night. I am not sure why I did this and not sure what I'm going to do with the information, but I want to know about how many I've taken in a calendar year. So, I'm going to add up all the monthly totals at the beginning of 2025 and possibly start a new list. Story 33. I poop twice a day mostly, but can have 3 times a day if my stomach feels like it. I'm about to have a second one after the first one 2 hours ago. Story 34. Don't worry, normal frequency is between 2 to 3 times a day and 2 to 3 times a week. You're on the slow end of that, obviously, but it's still normal. It's also a concern if it suddenly changes very dramatically. Story 35. Until I got out on my own, it was once a week. I thought everyone went once a week. I started going more and thought something was wrong. Apparently, I was being starved growing up. Now it's once a day, sometimes twice. Story 36. Had a respected gastroenterologist tell me once that if you eat 3 good meals a day, 24 inches of stool should be about right. How often you defecate is dictated by how active you are and how hydrated you stay. Story 37. Back in the day, I listened to Loveline, and Dr. Drew said a few times a week is perfectly fine. He might have his flaws, but he is a real medical doctor. Story 38. You are still considered normal even if it is like once a week. I would ask your doctor, but I can tell you that when I was losing weight, I would be going to the bathroom 3 to 5 times a week. I would not be concerned, but if you were curious, ask a professional. Story 39. You might want to add some fiber to your diet. I will make an orange juice smoothie with 3 or 4 spoonfuls of an orange-flavored fiber supplement. That helps clean me out once or twice a week. Story 40. At least once a day. Regarding your eating less point. It's not just about eating less, it's about what you eat. Only disposing 2 to 3 times a week already tells me your diet is horrible. Try eating healthier and you might see a difference. Also, not having time to eat and being knocked out almost daily is not good for you and would probably result in being overweight. Story 41. Amazingly, once about 30 minutes after I wake up and again after dinner, I usually just eat breakfast and dinner. Lunch is a wild card. 2 to 3 times a day on average. My wife says that's unhealthy. I think she's jealous. I told a nurse one time. She laughed and said that no one is that regular. My colonoscopy last year came back with a perfect pooper. Story 42. 1 or 2 in the morning depending on the previous night's offerings. About every other day, I'll have one around 7 p.m. due to my evening mate. So between 17 to 21 times a week, I'm pooping. Story 43. Diverticulitis. Every time I eat food, I have a bowel movement. I go to the bathroom on average 5 times a day. I bought a bidet and it saved my life. No more discomfort, although I often look for my best friend at work and end up touching the unpleasant toilet. Story 44. First thing every morning, then usually once or twice more over the course of the day. I would lose my mind if I wasn't able to drop a load off first thing every morning. Story 45, 2 to 3 times a day, unless I eat a lot of ice cream or too much coffee. Been like that my whole life. If I don't go at least once in a day, the next 3 days are extremely difficult trying to pass large, hard stools. Story 46. I have a high-output ostomy, diverting ileostomy loop, due to a severe case of Crohn's disease. I empty my bag when I wake up once after every meal, and again before bed. Story 47. Once a day normally, but sometimes it can be 2 times. I drink Metamucil in the morning and Benefiber at night because I have high cholesterol. The increase in fiber has the added effect of more regular bowel movements, which may benefit you. I also eat twice a day. I don't eat breakfast. Story 48. Literally, the first thing I do every morning is use the bathroom before coffee or anything. Get out of bed and go straight to the toilet. I can't start my day without pooping. I have my morning coffee and a quick breakfast like yogurt or a banana. Then go again before heading out to work. I'm highly consistent twice every morning, and then that's it for the day. Story 49. I go to the bathroom an average of 2 to 3 times per day. If you're not using the bathroom at least once per day, you might have some issues and could be fast-tracking yourself to hemorrhoids. Story 50. Damn, dude, you need fiber as soon as possible. Honestly, get yourself Metamucil Berry Blend. It's the best flavor and helps you have divine bowel movements. Slow bowel movement is a sign of slow metabolism. If you haven't done blood work, it would be a good idea to make sure everything is working as expected. Yeah, you should be having at least 1 a day unless you are a super old person. I average 3 a day. Story 51. From what I have read before, anywhere from 3 times a week to 3 times a day can be considered normal, more so if it is over a longer period of time. Over the past few years, I have averaged from about every other day to about twice a day. Story 52. My husband defecates daily, usually more than once. I also defecate at least once daily. It is not at all normal to defecate only 2 to 3 times a week. You need to see a doctor and change your diet. Story 53. 2 to 3 times a week is perfectly fine if that's normal for you. It's different for everyone. I remember hearing that anywhere between 3 times a day and 3 times a week is normal, but even that is just normal. Going outside of that is abnormal, but not necessarily troubling. I'd say I go to the bathroom about 2 to 3 times a week, and I've never had serious digestive issues.